probably noticed I missed the upload yesterday, and that's actually because I was able to go play Strive offline. I went to a LAN center near my apartment, which is it's pretty weird that there's one out here. I live in the middle of nowhere, and I didn't expect to find anybody who actually played Strive, let alone at a LAN center where I could like meet up. Through a friend of a friend, I met a few people who play fighting games, and I met up with them. They don't really play 2D fighters as much, it seems like. They're more Tekken players, but I'm glad that I went because I still got to play a few sets, even if they haven't really touched the game too much. It was still a good time, and I got to experience the game offline. It was pretty funny though. When I got there, they had like a 45-man Smash bracket. I guess it's like the big game out here because, like I said, when I moved out here, COVID hit, so I wasn't able to go anywhere, and I haven't really been able to do anything until now because I'm double vaccinated. And you know, I have a mask and everything. I use all the precautions I can, and a lot of people out here are vaccinated, so it's getting safer. But I walked in with my hitbox in my backpack, and they were like trying to sell me the Smash Pass or whatever. They have like a pass. If you play Smash Bros, you can just pay for that and show up, I guess, as many times as you want and play as much Ultimate as you want. But I obviously I have no interest in that game, but it's pretty surreal to see that many people in a bracket playing offline already, or like in this town that I'm in. But anyways, once I got there, they sort of like signed me into their weird system or whatever, and then we played a few sets, and the game honestly feels like you're playing maybe like 1 frame delay, right? It feels very similar to online, which is good because that means that the online is working very well. Like it's simulating offline to the best of its abilities. I will say most of the games that I do play online are only like 1 to 2 frames of rollback, and sometimes 0 if they live very close to me. But it's usually like 1 frame, and I cannot tell the difference between a 1 frame online delay and like playing offline. And unfortunately, you probably noticed in the background, this is not the offline gameplay. It was at a LAN center, and there was really no way for me to record. They had like this weird thing where you could sign into Streamlabs and like stream if you wanted, I guess, but I just didn't want to put my credentials in and like put my stream key in a public computer, so I kind of just played it safe. And this is just a recording from me playing online. But I will say a few things that were kind of annoying that I think will start to show when online or offline comes back and people are playing in huge brackets like at CEO. I think there's like 500 people, right? It's like 512 people in the bracket maybe. Setting your buttons is a pain, and it's gonna be a pain for I think big brackets like that, because you know how when you hover over some like whatever you want to remap, you have to click it like remap, and then you have to click the button, and then if you mess up, it's easier to just go and reset defaults than it is to just like try and figure out which button you just messed up. It's not like Street Fighter 5 where you just press the button and it remaps. You have to press and then confirm that you want that button to be remapped, which is a safer way to do it. It's just more time consuming and a little bit more annoying in my opinion. Another thing I noticed, this is probably not just offline, this is probably online too, but playing in like borderless window, that's the mode that it launched in when I installed it on the LAN center computer. It felt like there was more input delay. I don't know if that was in my head, but I felt like my inputs were a tiny bit delayed when it was in borderless. I don't know if that's like a thing or if that was in my head or maybe it was something with the computer, but I definitely felt something for like a little bit, and then I put it into full screen and it was fine. Unfortunately, I don't feel like this game is going to get a very big competitive scene in my area, and that's just because I live in like a small town in the middle of nowhere, Texas, and apparently they love Smash out here because there's a ridiculous amount of people there. Just playing Ultimate. It was pretty cool though to like be able to play in front of other people, if that makes sense. Like the Smash players were like watching us and they're like, oh, is this that new game? They're asking questions, which is cool, right? Introducing the game to somebody who might have an interest in it and pick it up later down the line is always a good feeling. As far as trying to play competitively offline, I'd probably go back to Houston for like, visit my family, and then probably play in like some bigger tournaments that they're going to run there. Because I just don't. They're very Tekken heavy here. They play a lot of 3D games, it feels like, and Smash heavy. But as far as traditional fighters go, they're really into Tekken, and that's just not a game that I could hop into, I feel like, and catch up. It would take me about as long as it did to get good at Street Fighter 5 to get good at Tekken. It'd take like a year and a half or something. And it's not really a game that I was too interested in. But I was happy to meet people who are interested in fighting games. I'd definitely go meet up again, even if it's just to bring my own setup and play Strive with whoever wants to, or play Street Fighter. As far as seeing like big, 20, 40-man brackets out here, I just don't think that it's going to happen. Down in Houston, though, I know they're already running locals. You guys know Juices probably. I talk about him a lot on this channel. He won a local already. He went to some bar near his house, and he won like 2 beers, some barbecue, and I think like some snacks or something in like I think it was like 20 something people in the bracket at just some random bar. He didn't drop a game until like grand finals. He plays Nagoriyuki, I think, and watching the tournament, like, because they were streaming it from the bar or whatever, you could see that a lot of people playing offline already, or like just playing the game in general, are not used to playing against a player who can manage the blood gauge that well. His entire run, his blood gauge only popped like once. Literally only one time did the blood gauge pop, and he still won the round. That character, if you can manage the blood gauge, I think is going to be a problem, or like very good. Just because I'm pretty sure at level 2 blood gauge, when he has 2 bars, his normals are extended or faster. It's one of the two, or it might be both. I don't remember. So already being able to manage a resource like that is very scary, and it's hard to deal with. As for the matchups that I tried offline, I only played Giovanna, but obviously they haven't played very much, so they were playing a couple other characters. One of them was playing Axel. They played Ramathal, Faust, Nago, just basically a bunch of characters on the roster. And I was happy to play it, right? Because I haven't played against any Axel. Even if they don't know the character, getting around Axel's normals is a task, right? Something that you have to figure out how to do eventually. So I still had a good time. If any of you play Axel and you made it this far in the video, comment how you feel about him. I think it's very interesting, like, playing a zoner in a game that is this, like, offensive heavy. I actually don't think he's terrible. I just think it's like an interesting way to have to play in a game that favors like rush down and offense so heavily. Also, I will say some of his animations, like the one where he does the command grab and stuff, I think it is easier to react to offline just because there is no delay, obviously, but it's not that much easier, right? And that's a good thing to me, right, as a Street Fighter player, because there are things on Street Fighter 5 that you cannot react to online reliably that you can react to offline, and I don't want that to be the case for this game. There are things that you can do so much easier offline that it deters people from even playing their main character online. And for example, it would be like Karen, right? There's like a few players who I know don't play Karen online. They make it a point not to play Karen online, because if you don't play Street Fighter 5, she's a very hit confirm heavy character, and when you play on that netcode on Street Fighter where it's very volatile and it's prone to rolling back a lot, it's not fun to get your hit and then put yourself in a -10 situation because it rolled back to a block. Now the game's over, not because you did the wrong thing, but because the game did the wrong thing. And that is something that I did not experience playing offline, right? There was not a moment where I said, this is something that I can only do offline. And that makes me very happy, and makes me feel like there's a bright future for this game, both on and offline. Because if you're like me and you want to be able to practice online and then transfer those same skills offline, you can now. It's not like Street Fighter 5 where you're practicing offline and then you go online and you get screwed over for doing the right thing sometimes. And obviously that's going to happen if you're playing maybe somebody on Wi-Fi or like 8 frames delay on Guilty Gear Strive, but it's less of a chance. It's way less of a chance that you're going to get a very bad rollback like you do in Street Fighter a lot of the time. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.